Hello guys, it's Kasim. How you doing? I hope everything's all right. I hope family's okay. I hope you've been keeping all right. Um, I wanted to talk about a controversial subject today. Well, it's not really controversial, but I think it's really important that I talk about this because it's a subject that's affecting a lot of us guys. I wanted to talk about the problem with porn. Um, I made down some notes. The reason why I'm talking about this, by the way, before I get into this, is basically this is becoming more and more of an issue, right? Pretty much, you guys have probably noticed you got a lot of guy friends who are single, who are really struggling to find partners, and I've really been trying to figure out like what the hell is going on. What is it? Why are so many of us guys single? Why are we struggling with relationships? Like, why are so many men walking away? And porn is one of the main factors to this. It's huge, 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 huge. So I wanted to deal with this, and I wanted to sort of share some things with you that I've been thinking about regarding this, and I hope in some way it can help you, can add some value to the quality of your life. But before I get into that, guys, if you want to help me get to 1,000 subscribers by June, please can you like and subscribe to my channel? You would be an absolute legend. Thank you. Okay, cool. Let's go. Number one. So I wrote down 6 things here. Hopefully I'll get through them. Number one, a lot of guys don't even realize that there is a downside to porn. And it's true. I'm going to be honest with you. When I've used to have a bit, I don't know whether I did. I would say I definitely used to have a bit of a porn addiction. And let me tell you how I define this. I used to get to a point in probably when I was about 23, 24, where I was wanking probably 4 or 5 times a day. Now, here's the thing. At that point in my life, I didn't know anything about personal development, about success, about any of this kind of stuff. So I didn't actually know that there were consequences to me watching that kind of level of porn, right? Now my philosophy, because I've got older and I've researched life and I've spoken to people, I now know that anything which is done in huge quantities, there is always a consequence to. It basically accumulates, it compounds, right? It's just like if you go and smoke weed one time, it doesn't really matter, or even 2 times, it doesn't really matter. But if you smoke weed every single day over a year, 2 years, it compounds, it gets worse. And then if you add in there a few times you do coke or mandy or whatever it may be, it just compounds, everything gets worse and worse and worse and worse. And this is the same with porn. And I say this to you because some of you are going to be listening to this and you're like, Cass, man, it's just a wank. It's just like, come on, man, it's just porn. It's not a huge problem. But it is. It is, because when you add into the fact that you're single, you're depressed, you have anxiety, right? You've got to add all of these different factors, because porn in itself isn't one thing, right? It is meeting a need that you have, and when you combine it with all the other things, now you have a serious issue on your hands, right? And some of you aren't even recognizing all the other things, all the other factors that are adding to this. You have anxiety, you have problem interacting with people, you don't really like your job, you don't really have a purpose and don't know what your purpose is, you haven't really got a really strong base of social friends of yours, you hardly go out, right? You're online a huge amount of your time. Now, when we start adding all of these, it ain't looking good, right? This is what I'm saying. So the first thing that I would say to you is, do you realize, number one, that porn can be an issue? It can have huge consequences on your life. I'm not saying that it is for you now, or it was, or it is. I'm just saying, do you recognize that it is? That it can be, number one. 2, real sex is not like it is in porn. So it's really important to understand this, because I also didn't know this until I started studying porn. I didn't know that when we see a porn video, the video that we see that's not how it actually looked when they were doing it. Meaning that when they're filming a porn scene that maybe is, I don't know, 8 minutes long, 12 minutes long, 20 minutes long, that took them 4 or 5 hours to film, right? They did different scenes. They went back to where the positions they were before. Sometimes they need to rest. Sometimes the guy loses his heart on and has to then have a bit of a breather and then go again. Sometimes a woman isn't wet and you have to go again. Like, the whole point is things don't go according to plan. Real life is messy, okay? Real life is ugly and messy, and it isn't beautiful. When you look at porn, it's beautiful and perfect. So one of the things that I have learned in life, and it's been one of my life lessons that I've had to learn is, anytime I see anything which looks perfect, I need to pay attention, because something isn't right. Because nothing in life is perfect. Nothing, right? If I see a couple and it's too good, it's too good to be true. 9 times out of 10, it is too good to be true, because to maintain something to be of a really, really high standard is very, 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 very difficult. Okay, so like, I know this couple where I was looking at them and they're constantly posting pictures of them being abroad. They are constantly posting pictures of their beautiful bodies. They're constantly posting pictures of their house, and alarm bells were ringing off at me, because I was like, something is gonna give, because there is no way that you can live such a life as a normal person and something not give. And inevitably, of course, something had to give. Okay, the woman she was depressed, because trying to be a mother, a wife, look perfect, have a great body, like it's work full time. It's too much. Nobody can live that kind of life. And so I would say to you, when it comes to porn, be really, really careful in understanding that actual sex in real life is not like the porn. It's ugly, it's messy, things don't go according to plan. And so I think that's one of the things that's really important to to understand. Number 3, porn has a novelty. Okay, anything new has a novelty to it, meaning that when you first start watching porn, there's a novelty to it, in the sense that it's the first time you've seen, I don't know, it may be for you prawn bone. It may be prawn bone, the first time you've seen prawn bone. It may be the first time you've seen I don't know, DP, or the first time you've seen squirting, or whatever it may be. Okay, maybe the first time you've seen any of that. But what ends up happening is, if you keep watching it over and over and over and over again over a long period of time, it loses its novelty. And when something uses its novelty, what you then have to do is take it up to the next level. Let me tell you how I learned about this. I learned about this when I was studying OnlyFans. So recently, I've been spending a lot of time studying OnlyFans, because I want to understand the consequences of it, what it does to communities, to families, to the people who are doing it. And what I began to see is, one of the consequences of having OnlyFans is, when you first begin of doing OnlyFans, you will do very well. You make a lot of money because you're new, right? Guys haven't seen a woman like you. You may be posting certain things that they haven't seen before. But what will eventually end up happening after a year or 2 years or whatever it may be, is you will lose your novelty. And so if you're posting only pictures of your ass, or your ass in Frenchies, eventually men, or the people who are watching it, who are subscribed onto your OnlyFans, will want more raunchier. They'll want you without the knickers now. They'll want you with 2 women in it now who are not in knickers. They'll want you to put stuff in yourself. Like, it has to level up, because it has to become more hardcore. It can't, anything which is, the way the way it works is, anything that you keep seeing over and over again becomes boring, right? So if you, for example, love popcorn and you eat popcorn every single day, popcorn becomes boring. Popcorn is not exciting anymore, right? And so it's really important to understand, if you keep watching porn every single day over and over and over and over again, sex in itself becomes boring. When you have sex with a woman, it's just not exciting. It's like, oh, this is boring. Or even worse, when you start doing actual sex with a woman, you're going to think, this woman's shit. She can't do any of the things that I have seen all of these women doing. She can't do the Glock 9000 like all these other women have been doing that I've been seeing. She's not really into me slapping her, right? You might have been watching, because of novelty wearing off, you may be at a point now where you're watching things where women are being choked, where they're plugging cucumbers in themselves, and you might meet your wife or your partner and she's not into that, and she thinks you're weird that you're into that. And that's because for you, it's been so normal, it's been so familiar that you think she's weird, but actually in reality of life, you are the one who's gone so extreme that you don't even realize, right? And so that's something for people to think about. which leads obviously something related to that, which is erectile dysfunction. Being somebody who is in the counseling world and who is into coaching, I can tell you that one of the big problems that couples have is when it comes to having children. And one of the things that leads to couples struggling to have children is men have erectile dysfunction. They have problems with getting it up, to put it quite frankly. And you would be shocked at how many people this happens to. You would be shocked. And part of the reason why this is because erectile dysfunction and watching too much porn can be... I say to people that success amplifies everything. So if you are somebody who's watching porn all the time, or you're exposing yourself to porn all the time, what's going to happen is, we know from research that it leads to higher depression, it leads to higher levels of anxiety, it leads to more problems of body image, right? When you keep seeing guys who all have 9-inch cocks, it's very difficult with your 6.5-inch cock to feel good about yourself, right? But the reality is most guys do not have 9-inch cocks. They just don't, right? And so for you, you're going to feel inadequate, you're going to have anxiety, even even worse, you might think, God, Cass, I can't even do any of those things, right? Like, for example, let me give you a perfect example of what I mean by this. So when one time I was looking at a girl, and when I was doing it, my jaw was hurting, man. And so I thought, man, she's just giving me a blowjob, whatever, but now I can't reciprocate what she's done for me. And I remember it playing in my mind, and it got on my mind, and it, like, even after we had sex, it was on my mind all the time, and I was thinking about it, and I was like, man, like, why was my jaw hurting, etc. And that's because I'd seen it in porn, and I thought, oh, these guys are doing this for like 30 minutes. But have you ever tried to lick a girl out for 30 minutes? It's a very long time, and your jaw hurts. And here's the thing that you don't even encounter in it, is your hard-on is going to go after 30 minutes. Like, to sustain a hard-on and lick a girl out and pay attention to her for 30 minutes is a very, very, very long time. And so what I mean by this is there is what I call residual effects, residual consequences that happen that you don't even expect. A lot of people don't expect that they're going to have depression, right? It's just depressing because you're seeing all these women, your mind is seeing them, but you can't get it in real life. It's really depressing. So that's just something for you to think about. What else? What you see is what you expect, right? Here's the thing, and I briefly talked about this. If you're seeing women with storylines or themes where you're going to where you're watching porn, and a man goes into a post office, and there's a busty woman with big boobs in the post office, and you go into the post office down in your local town, and you don't see that, it feels strange. It almost feels like, oh my God, these women are in here so pathetic. They're so stupid. Women today, look at them, they're less than, right? Because you're like, the women in my town none of them are even good, right? And because you're looking and here's the thing about this. The first thing your mind goes to is that which is familiar. Right? Your mind wouldn't go, oh yeah, but obviously that was porn and most women aren't like that. No. It would just go automatically to, well, why are there, well, clearly this is pathetic, this is really stupid, these women in here aren't like this. And a lot of guys are not conscious of even their thought pattern to even recognize that that is how they're thinking. So, meaning that your expectations goes up so high when you keep seeing certain things that when eventually you maybe find a really good wife, or you find a really good girlfriend, the things you're going to be wanting and expecting, you're going to see her really different. Like, you're going to be expecting things from her that she cannot deliver. She doesn't want to do, right? Most women don't want to be doing the things that are in sex, right? It's just not their cup of tea. The last thing that I would share with you is it's a business. Okay, it's really important to understand this. Porn is a business. That means anything which is a business, their first interest is to themselves, not you. Now, in me saying that, obviously, like with everything, there's always an exception to every rule. There are some companies who genuinely put their customers ahead of anybody else, ahead of themselves. But the reality is that's not how most companies work. Most companies are looking out for themselves, their shareholders, their profit, right? And you have to remember, giving you what you are wanting. They're not giving you what is best for you. See, that is a really close distinction, but it's quite important to understand what I've just said. Most of these porn companies are giving you what you want, not what is best for you. And so what is best for you is something that you would need to determine for yourself. And you're going to need to differentiate. Because they might be giving you what you want. They're giving you the hardcore porn. They're giving you the kinky stuff. But it may not be what is best for you. Because they cannot tailor stuff to individual people all the time. And so I guess where I'll finish off is I would just ask you to think about this stuff. Have you thought about the consequences of porn? Have you thought about what it could mean to you? Are you addicted to porn? And are you going to stop it? By the way, let me finish off with this. How can you start getting out of this? Stop. Right? Stop. The way something becomes a novelty again is not to see it in a long time. If you haven't seen your best friend in a long time, or your dog, or your mum, right? When you see them again, it's wonderful. If you haven't eaten something in a long time and you eat it again, it's wonderful. So what I would say to you is start by going 3 months. Go 3 months without watching porn. See if you can do it. Because if you can do it, that means you're not addicted. Or if you can do it, if you can't do it, you've got to learn some things about yourself. That's where I'll leave it. But it's just been interesting, and it's just something for you that I would just say to you, you want to think about in your own life. Thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel to help me get to 1,000 subscribers by June. But apart from that, I'll speak to you soon. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye for now.